Hey friends, Sean from SGTreport here, and I need to show you a couple of very amusing things, not the least of which is the Crypt Keeper. More on that in a second, but first I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching my last video. Now comes the real pain, now comes the truth. YouTube didn't like it one bit. It was immediately demonetized and joins the ranks of my last 7 videos, 5 of which have been labeled not suitable for most advertisers. And I want to show you this. When that happens, you can request a manual review, which I did Monday night when I posted that video. And let me show you what it says. I looked for an update today, and the update of that manual review request says this. Review requested. Right now, we are only able to review videos with at least 1,000 views in the past 7 days. We'll review your video once it reaches that threshold. Well, it's at 230,000 views as I record this, and it begs the question, will YouTube ever be a level playing field? All right, my thanks to my patrons and to advertisers like Virtual Shield, which has stepped up to the plate and does want to get their products in front of all you informed people. So this video update is brought to you in part by our friends at Virtual Shield. If you're sick and tired of being spied on by Big Brother, get a real VPN that will actually protect your privacy. Visit our friends at virtualshield.com. Virtual Shield VPN is the easiest to use VPN in the world and one of the fastest, and their no-log policy protects users from any data breaches, and they would never ever sell your data like Facebook would. And this month, Virtual Shield is offering 70% off VPN plans and discounts on all premium add-ons, including IdentiSafe, which allows you the ability to block off computer, microphone, and camera access from any unwanted spies or hackers. You have the right to remain private. So check out Virtual Shield VPN. I'll leave the link below this video. So now guys, the main event. CNN and Christiane Amanpour rolled out the Crypt Keeper to trash Trump, and the 10-minute interview with this treacherous former presidential candidate is so riddled with hyperbole, conjecture, and outright falsehoods, I just had to share the first 60 seconds of it with you.
You're here to talk about the crisis in democracy, not just in the United States, but also around the world.
First of all, Ms. Amanpour, what was at risk was not democracy. It was our republic, which we now know without a shadow of a doubt the witch and her ilk were hell-bent on destroying.
What precisely about democracy has you worried?
Well, really 5 things. And I started worrying at his inauguration.
Today, we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
Yes, President Trump's inauguration was troubling for globalists whose litany of crimes and treason would be exposed if the U.S. government was ever returned to the people.
Both because of what he said in his speech, which I thought was defiant, defensive, dystopian.
Defiant, defensive, dystopian. What an interesting choice of words from a witch who counts Saul Alinsky, the author of Rules for Radicals, who dedicated his book to Lucifer, among her heroes.
It wasn't a speech to bring together people who had not supported him.
Not a speech to bring people together, you say. In fact, it was exactly that.
For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed.
A speech not for you and your globalist pals, but rather one for we, the people.
The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. That all changes, starting right here and right now.
Easy to see how that might upset you.
It was aimed, as I say in my book, what happened at, the white nationalist gut.
Ah, yes, and more Democratic race baiting. After all, it's all you have left, isn't it? Only white nationalists supported this old white president. Well, what about this guy? And this guy? And her? And him? And him and her? And them.
And then, over the course of now 2 years nearly since the election, We have seen him degrading the rule of law.
We have seen him degrading the rule of law. Seriously, friends, she just actually said that. If that's not the single best example of the pot calling the kettle black in the history of the world, I'm not sure what is. The Clinton Foundation pay-for-play scandals, Uranium One, Fusion GPS, the Steele dossier, FBI DNC collusion, FISA court fraud, the murder of Seth Rich, stealing the DNC election from Bernie Sanders while trying to topple an American presidential candidate, and after he's elected, trying to oust him illegally from the White House. And I'm just scratching the surface here. Perhaps you meant to say, we have seen him degrading globalist law. Let's continue.
We have seen him delegitimizing our elections.
Delegitimizing our elections, you say. And yet, it's the DNC and the Democratic Party involved in all of the aforementioned criminality. At the very heart of the Russians hacked our elections lies. And it's the Democrats, 140 of them, in the House who refused to vote yes on a resolution condemning voting by illegal immigrants in our elections. Democrats have never, ever met a legitimate election they could love.
We have seen him also attacking truth and facts, even reason itself.
So President Trump has been attacking the truth, facts, even reason itself. Still mad he got us out of the TPP, Obama's signature trade deal, and the Paris Climate Accord, aren't you? It's upsetting to you to see him dismantle NAFTA, the Bush-era globalist free trade agreement that opened the door to the gutting of American industry and jobs. It's painful to see President Trump play hardball with Canada's dancing fool and Mexico and now China in order to put America first, isn't it, Hillary? It really must keep you and your masters, Soros and the Rothschilds, up at night.
I was hopeful. I wanted to give him a chance. I think every new president deserves a chance, but every month that's gone by, I've become more and more worried.
Because you'd be in jail.
Every month that's gone by, I've become more and more worried about how he governs and how he treats people.
Worried, huh? About how he doesn't govern the way you and your international bankster pals want him to? I get it. And he treats people poorly, you say. We'd remind you, Ms. Clinton, that it was you, your own Secret Service security detail, who now say they despised having to serve you.
Mrs. Clinton is not a leader. She's a very, very angry person all the time. I've seen many instances that I talk about in my book, Crisis of Character, where she displays this holier-than-thou attitude, do as I say, not as I do. She's a dictator. She comes across as a dictator. I've seen her berate many people, and myself included.
As for this president, right-minded, red-blooded Americans of all races, colors, and creeds seem to be A-OK with how he treats people. And what really has you worried is the red wave of common sense and love for the republic that will bring American voters to the polls this November. There's a political tsunami coming, and it will be the death knell for your bankrupt and purely evil ilk and their anti-American ideologies. Thanks so much for tuning in, and for real news 24/7, visit us at SGTreport.com. God bless.
You're going to see arrests, and then you're going to see indictments, and then you're going to see convictions. They are scared to death.